Hey y'all, I'm Dan Hamilton, host of the Next Gen Warrior Show. As always, the Next Gen Warrior Show is brought to you by Chairman George P. Bush and the Texas Veterans Land Board. Today, we have a great guest. Anthony Gantt is the founder of At Ease Rental Corporation. And Anthony, I'm excited to talk about entrepreneurship. I'm excited to talk about startups and hear what your experience has been like as the founder of At Ease. But before we do that, can you provide our audience with a little bit of your military background?
Yeah, Daniel, thanks for the having me on the show, and thank you to Mr. Bush for allowing this to be a part of our community. I'm a 20-year active duty Marine. I'm currently a major serving at the University of Texas, 10-year officer, 10-year enlisted. Hoorah!
Hoorah! We're gonna have I think we're gonna have a lot in common. I'm also a Longhorn, a Marine, and so I think we're getting off on the right foot here.
I
Um,
heard that. Hook 'em horns.
that's right, hook 'em. I hope we get some football in the fall, but hey, we'll see. Can you tell us what At Ease is?
At ease is like Airbnb for military and federal employees that are transitioning during the move, what's known as a permanent change of station, as you're familiar with, or doing temporary duty travel, whether it's for advancing in the school or different type of missions and operations.
And I'm interested to know, as somebody who is in public service and works for the General Land Offices and Texas Veterans Land Board, I'm interested in the mindset, the value systems, the things that make you tick, and the things that make you want to be an entrepreneur. You know what those characteristics are, how you use the characteristics and use your strengths to become an entrepreneur. And one thing that has really stuck out to me as a veteran over the last couple years is seeing the drop in percentages of veterans who are pursuing entrepreneurship and starting businesses compared to previous generations of veterans. So I wanted to know, from your perspective, what do you think would encourage more veterans to start businesses?
What I believe will encourage more veterans to start businesses, believing in themselves and the training that they received from the military. Uh, During that question, as you were working up to the end of it, one of the things you talk about, the things that we learned and the things that we experienced during our time in the military, a lot of veterans have not realized, I don't understand just yet. That translates into being an independent thinker, because it teaches you about innovation, adaptability, and just getting the job done, which is primarily entrepreneurship.
So how would, again, if you don't mind me juxtapositioning that answer a little bit, when I was talking about my service for the state of Texas and being, a public servant, I might have ideas, right, about, business, or maybe something that I'm like, oh, this would be a great product. I love to see if I could actually make something of this. But, what's the difference, or what was the dividing line for you for saying, like, hey, I have an idea, versus, okay, I'm going to write out a business plan and then I'm going to go try to fundraise and make this happen?
Daniel, what made it real for me is I didn't see anyone wanting to accomplish it when I gave them my idea. You and I know, and many other veterans know, that we see a lot of broken and stupid systems that exist in the military. And we're always saying, man, I would do this, I would do this. But a lot of veterans don't take that opportunity to do it. And because you got to look at what's out there when they get out the military. A lot of these big corporations, especially the ones that have those contracts with the federal, state, and local governments, they understand the work ethics that comes along when you hire a veteran. So they're willing to lack of better words, put that carrot in front of them. And that carrot is so nice and like you're going after it, that sometimes it derails you from that I should be an entrepreneur mentality. What made me stick to it was like I didn't think anyone would fix it, nor did I want the wrong person fixing it for the people I was doing it for.
So if we can go back to the start of our conversation, you said that At Ease was similar to Airbnb. Can you talk us a little bit more about kind of maybe the user interface, or how those in the armed forces would use your platform and where they can, book rentals?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing that I want to talk about is the reason I built it and started it was because the federal government prohibits the use of booking platforms, not just Airbnb, but booking platforms at large. So what I did was, like I said, Marines, we're good on not reinventing the wheel, right? We like, hey, if it's not broken, don't fix it, make it better. So what I did was say, okay, let me figure out the ways that what I'm doing will be in compliance with federal regulations, which will open it up for our armed services members, their families, and federal employees. And I just replicated the model, but refined it to fit a specific niche, which is our federal employee base.
And so if I'm somebody who's in the armed forces and say I'm leaving Camp Pendleton and I'm going to Camp Lejeune or I'm going out to Hawaii, they are prevented, or they were prevented. The problem that you found to solve was that I couldn't just go get an Airbnb outside of base. I actually had to stay in a hotel or a motel or something around base, right? And so you said, well, there's obviously a lot of inventory out there, and by inventory I mean homes that people are trying to rent out. Let's get active duty service members into those homes and let them have maybe a little bit different experience during their transition from base.
Daniel, thank you for selling that part for me. I couldn't have did it any better. So absolutely.
I try to do my research before we have on our guests here. So
no, that was amazing, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything you said is like 100% the truth. There's a preponderance of inventory, especially with the two places you mentioned, San Diego and Hawaii, right? But not so much in our Killeen, Texas, up there in Fort Hood area. So what I'm doing is making that opportunity open to those single Marines, those single soldiers, airmen, National Guardsmen, sailors, and Coast Guard persons. Uh, the inventory exists. The inventory just has to know or that they can work with federal employees, with the federal government. Everyone here is government and they just think hard. That's true, but I've come along to help simplify it for them so that they can make a little bit more money, bring some influx of economical impact to that region, and then also save the government a little money on the end and make a lot life better for that service member.
So I'm guessing that you're somebody who has used Airbnb in the past. Kind of, did you have that experience with Airbnb or one of the other platforms and go, hey, I could do something like this? Or, had you founded companies in the past?
I've done a couple of different businesses, but they were all ad hoc, just stuff I did out of hobbies and whatnot. I was actually looking to become a real estate agent on the side because I had a license in Virginia, was going to get one when I got stationed out here. And to answer your question, I actually booked a home off of Airbnb, and I was happy-go-lucky. I saved the government a lot of money. I'm winning. I'm then this new guy. I'm like, I'm super duper happy. A good steward of the taxpayer's dollar. And when I submitted my voucher for reimbursement, as you know, if it's in an approved source, you don't have to worry about that. You just sit back and get the money back. And till this day, I'm still talking to Staff Sergeant over at the INI about getting my money back. But that's what
You can't let that one go, man. You got to stay after it.
I can't he's like, sir.
So every day he shows up on Monday and he's got a few emails from you over the weekend, asking him where that check is.
Look, I'm trying to convince him that if football season is there and it's not, we're not restricted, I might have some tickets for him. But my reimbursement. It's not bribery. It's just looking out for Marines.
It's just business.
Yeah. So they have a good product. It just I just saw a need for it to be open to our service members and our federal employees.
So did you grow up in a house where there were entrepreneurs? Talk about kind of how you came to the idea to start using some of your hobbies or some of your skills and turning them into businesses.
Great question. My granddad had his own gas station in Miami, Florida. That's how our family got down there. They moved from Georgia. And I didn't know it was called entrepreneurship at the time. But when I was going to work at the gas station, that probably was my first job. I just didn't get paid for it. Now I think about it.
That was just your responsibility. You were doing the trucks.
Yeah, OJT without the pay. I was an intern. my first internship. But seeing that, and along the way, man, I was the kid in school that sold the blow pops and the backpack of gums and the Jolly Ranchers. So, like I said, I always did something like that. That was just like, this is cool. I'm making a little bit of money on the side, but it's nothing serious. But as I jumped into this journey of entrepreneurship, then I started learning like I've been an entrepreneur all my life. Just not out of the whole making money aspect of it, but out of the sheer enjoyment of doing something new that transitions to something economical. And I think that's what I love about Texas and Florida. Both of those states thrive on entrepreneurship and, um, you know, giving people opportunities and the ability to be out on their own and be successful.
So I know in the Now You Know segment, you talked about your admiration for Robert Smith, and I wanted to know if there were other businessmen or businesswomen or businesses as a whole that you look up to.
My mentor here locally, believe it or not, is Brian Sharples. He was the founder of Home Away. Since selling it to Expedia, he's had a lot of time to just sit back and mentor young guys like me, which is pretty cool because it's in the same space. I look up to him because the way he handled a lot of issues during his tenure as the CEO for HomeAway, I respect that a lot. And just being able to talk to him and ask him how he think about different things and how he handled it was pretty cool. And as far as other individuals that I would think would be cool to me, Richard Branson. I read both two of his books and uh, found them pretty interesting.
Can I ask you if, do you mind identifying maybe some strengths and weaknesses that you have maybe as a leader? If there's something is there something about business that comes naturally to you versus is there something in the business that you've had to spend time and actually put a lot of thought and effort into learning?
Yes. So I'll talk about my deficiency first. One of the deficiencies that I have is I don't know if I had it because it's innate or if it was something that the Marine Corps taught me, or maybe it's not what they taught me, but what they kind of polished and made it like shine is get out the way if you're not going to do it, or if you're going to do it, let's go and do it together. Um, as soon as I see a roadblock or identify someone as a hindrance, I like watch out. I'll do it myself, right? And that's not good because sometimes you got to allow people to grow with you. So as an entrepreneur, you can't do the same things you do in the Marine Corps that you do out in the civilian world. So it's been a very learning experience, a very humble experience. I got a lot more humility now for people for what I do and empathy with others that might not have the same background as I do. So that's like a deficiency. And then as far as the business goes, legalese, right? Lawyers, man.
That might be a whole nother episode that we could do.
They are a special breed because the language that the contracts come in, it's written in English, but it's not in English. Um, and I have a great lawyer here, Brooke Goldlet, that's over at DLA Piper. She's a military veteran spouse, active duty spouse. So it's that connection. She's been my saving grace, I tell you what. And then strengths, that leadership that the Marine Corps has helped elevate and has cultivated within me to lead my team and just be able to give guidance uh, and oversight. I'm an officer through. Like, we don't work.
uh, um, Tell us about fundraising. I know fundraising is, from the little understanding that I have about startups and about starting a business and entrepreneurship, that fundraising is a necessary evil, might be the best way to describe it. But I know you're currently enrolled in the Hofstra Veterans Venture Challenge, and you're also doing some fundraising through Next Seed. And I just wanted to see if you could talk to us about those ups and downs.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, as far as funding the business, one of the things I learned quick and early is cash is king, and you don't have a business until you start bringing cash in, right? And then you got to make that a repeatable process. So, like you said, it's a necessary evil. So, one of the things that I wanted to make sure I didn't do is go out with an idea, and others have done it and were successful, and ask for money off of an idea. It had something to do with me being a Marine or in my military training. It was like you have to prove that this is a valid mission before you just go off of some assumptions, because we know at the beginning of assumptions start with, right? And I don't want to be that. Uh, why I'm going after these different opportunities like the Hofstra Veteran Venture Challenge, as well as raising capital via Nexi, is because I've been able to generate capital or make revenues come into the company by the processes that we build. And now we want to start to expand that out more. And you can't do it without having the appropriate resources. So that's why we went down the path of raising capital and competing in these different competitions to win them.
So I know for a lot of the fundraising, the point, I guess, is that for people who are unfamiliar with it, is that you have to get up in front of a group of people, maybe investors or judges, and you have to give your pitch, not about maybe just the company, but about yourself. And I kind of wanted to know, are you comfortable doing that now? Do you still get nervous doing it? And how do you prepare for those moments?
Well, I never got nervous with doing it. I was fortunate to have some real big deployments in my life. I was a corporal sergeant, went to Iraq, did the whole Fallujah thing and a couple other crazy cities. So it required me to get in front of a lot of Marines. As a leader in the combat arms, we have to get out there. Hey, here's the warrant from the skipper or whatnot. Stand by for the 5-paragraph order, and then you going through and doing your pre-combat checks, pre-combat inspection. So that kind of cultivated me. And then when I went through the basic school, and now I'm the lieutenant in front of people with the 5-paragraph order mission coming from me. So that, again, the military has cultivated me and prepared me for this opportunity. So getting in front of people, it wasn't nerve wracking, but it was different in terms of, like, I'm not saying, all right, situation, mission, right? Now I'm saying, hi, I'm Anthony. The problem is my solution. I just had to change the vernacular which I used to talk about the two things, but I've been able to, fortunately for me, is see the similarities in the 5-paragraph order and the business plan or pitch deck, and just talk about what I'm doing. And then at the end of the day, just sell the hell out of being that guy who can make it real.
Yeah. So do you guys also, I'm guessing do you have any staff on your team? How big is your business? And are you hiring veterans, or you have active duty people working on your team? Because obviously you would need to really know what it's like to move, to do, PCS, to move from base to base, really kind of even understanding the culture and the environment of military life.
Daniel, I'll tell you, man, I'm about to hire you and take you away from first.
Yeah, they're hearing that in the studio right now. They go, "Oh man, he's got a job."
So so absolutely. So my vision is to hire and employ not only veterans, but also military spouses. Because as you know, and as statistics show, that military spouses have this incredible amount of training, expertise, and knowledge, but they're not able to exploit that and get the jobs that they deserve and that they're capable of carrying out because of the different moves that they do with their military spouse. So I'm like, hey, if you're a CPA, and by the way, the CPA that I work with, she's stationed in Japan, but she still has her accreditations in the States. So, hey, get access to my QuickBooks, help me out, whip it out, do my 1065 for my taxes, and we're good to go. I don't have to worry about getting an audit. And then so we have a total team of 6 people right now. I'm active duty. My COO, co-founder, he's a Marine veteran, Huey pilot. I won't hold that against him because pilots don't really work. No offense to all the other aviators. I'm just giving him a hard time because he's an aviator. And then the core of the business consists of military spouses, that other portion of it, Air Force, Marine Corps, and I'm biased because we got a lot of Marines on the team. And then we have civilian counterparts who are industry experts. So we're about a core of about 6 to 7, give or take. And the mentor advisors come from all over, whether it's active duty and not active duty or veteran or whatnot.
How has remote work and the impacts of COVID impacted, maybe even in some ways improved your business?
COVID, unfortunately, because I don't like to say how good a pandemic is, but this pandemic has been great for at ease. It's the silver lining. Because you look at what we're doing, we're asking vacation rental management companies and owners to lend their house to us for military members who are coming during PCS or training. And what do you think when you hear military, right? As far as business, discount, less than. So they're like, I don't really want to give a discount. So it was very difficult for us to get inventory on the demand side of those different homes and whatnot, because they was like, nah, man, I'm about to skyrocket these nightly rates and make some money over the summer. 101 days of summer is the best time. COVID hit, and then I got all these phone calls and emails and texts like, hey, how do we get in this at ease program? And I was like, wait, who is this? I
So
like,
instead of you knocking on the door, they were the ones calling.
yeah, the inventory went from like 19 listings when we said we're going live in January. And it was just like to where we had one guy was like, I got 3,000 listings. How many can you get live? And I was like, oh my God. So we just been on the hustle and bustle. We had to deny a lot of them because they don't cut the mustard. We send them over to another service, right? Marines have standards.
That's
So
right. Hey, yeah, can't just be letting anybody in.
can't let anyone in. So it's been great for us in those regards, and we're able to help a lot of military families. I think that's what brings me the most joy is when I get on the phone with a spouse and it's like, hey, we're able to move during the whole pandemic, but we don't want to stay in a hotel. Do you have anything for us? And we serviced a family of 9. She has 7 kids. I got 6, so I gave her a virtual high five because she beat me. And I had another family who was like, "Hey, we just were told to move. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna stay because everything was booked out. We found them a home." So those are the things that make us happy and make me happy as the founder of the company.
Yeah. So one thing I want to ask you as well, I briefly spoke about it earlier for people who maybe work in an office setting or in a corporate environment or in public service. What are maybe some lessons or characteristics that you would take as an entrepreneur and then maybe apply those to people who are either working on the corporate side of things or kind of working their way up the chain of leadership within their business or even within their industry?
That's really, really good. So some characteristics. I like to quote this inspirational speaker from the 80s, Jim Rohn. He says, let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hurts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hands, but not you. So for me, what that means is like be willing and open to try something new and be willing to one be a team player, innovate, adapt, and just always take the initiative to go the extra mile. Work harder than what they pay you for, because at the end of the day, you will get rewarded for all of that hard work you put in. And I strongly believe the longest route to success is called the shortcut.
Man, that's a great line. That's something that I think we all can remember because it does seem like if you just take the easy way out, then maybe you'll get kind of where you want to go. But it really is through kind of some of the ups and downs is really where you have the most growth. One more thing before we close out here. I know you're passionate about serving the veterans and armed forces community, and I wanted to just leave you here with the last word. Is there's something that maybe we didn't get to chat about today that you would like to leave our audience with?
Yes, working virtually is a gift, not a curse. That's one of the things. You can do so much more. You can connect with people. I don't know how we would have got connected or been able to meet each other if there wasn't for the virtual aspect of things. And then two, understand that there are resources available to those veterans out there that have the idea of becoming an entrepreneur. And don't be afraid of taking risk or trusting in yourself, because you're the greatest thing that you can bet on, right? Always be willing to bet in yourself. Check out the different resources that exist, like the Boots to Business. I'm a city leader for Austin, a part of an organization called Bunker Labs. You got the Hivers and Strivers. You got the U.S. Small Business Administration. You have SCORE, Street Chairs Foundation, VWise, all of these different organizations that exist to help entrepreneurs. And this goes back all the way back to the one of the first items that you touched about. After World War II, there was this huge influx of service members coming out and becoming entrepreneurs. But we look at our Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and our Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation, I can't even remember what we fought in.
OIF, yeah.
Yeah,
OIF, OEF, yeah.
OEF, OEF, thank you, Enduring Freedom. We're not taking that same initiative and becoming the entrepreneurs back into society that we need. The country lives off of entrepreneurs and the growth of new businesses, and we have to get back to that, right? And it's on us as veterans to take that call and don't just settle for the simple GS job, because that's you transitioning from out of this to that. Be be willing to go out there and try something new. And there's nothing wrong with getting a job at a company, but work at your business that's going to pay the bills, and then work in your business that's going to develop your empire.
Anthony Gantt, he is the founder and CEO of At Ease Rental Corporation. Anthony, thank you for being such a great example of entrepreneurship for those in the armed forces, and those are for veterans. I mean, that is literally, the solution that I believe that we can provide here on our platform is to raise up role models and to allow you the platform to talk about your lessons learned and what inspires you as an entrepreneur. I appreciate your service to our country, and thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for your service to the country as well, and thank you for this opportunity. Take care.
Absolutely. On behalf of Chairman George P. Bush and the Texas Veterans Land Board, I am your host, Dan Hamilton. We will be back live again with you on Monday. We will talk to you then. Have a great week.
Follow us on Instagram at Voices of Vets, on Twitter at Voice of Veterans, and on Facebook at facebook.com/Voices of Veterans. To hear more, please visit voicesofveterans.org. Join us in sharing the success stories of Texas veterans. Thank you for joining us for the Next Gen Warrior podcast.